Hi, is anyone in the audience? God, I hate my voice. If anyone's here, go ahead and just. Hey. Okay. First, so I'm gonna maybe have to explain a couple things a couple times. So if I ask if someone's in there, and if you guys take off, really, please feel free. Um, but for the computer that I'm using is actually on the same platform as the camera that I'm using, which is my iPhone, um, and it's actually just going wirelessly to my OBS. So I'm gonna not be able to type as much as I would like. So I'll probably do a lot of my answering via audio, but I'll be keeping um, I'll be looking at the chat and everything. So if you have questions or if you want to tell me to stop doing something because I'm about to destroy something, please do that. um, Not that you're responsible or anything like that. And don't try this at home, obviously, but it's got to get done. Um, One, I want to check, is my audio on? Can you all hear me? Can I get a sense of my audio? Is it loud enough? Hello? Yeah. It should be good. Great. And it's a good level. It's a pretty good level. I'm going to be I'm going to be in the actual video. So first I should probably say oh, it's quiet. Okay. All right. Um it's quiet. Okay. Hmm. Okay. How about now? Is it better? Hello? Is it better? Better still? Um, hmm. I have a huge 8 decibel boost and then 175% on 175% on OBS, and I'm in the red when I speak. So on OBS, so I touch in the red with my louder. So I'm gonna leave it like this. Okay, great. Um, so just so anyone who's listening, what I'm going to be doing today is um, I'm going to be taking apart my BeatStep Pro and cleaning it because I've been using it for 7 years now, and I've never had any really issues. But recently, I have been experiencing issues, which I'll demonstrate for you as well. Um, I've been uh, having issues where when I press a button to advance to a next sequence, it will go from 1 to like 5. So I'll be in the middle of a gig, and luckily it hasn't happened where I've hit the wrong sequence or anything like that. I have hit the wrong sequence, but I've had enough time to, like, you can actually push the sequencer and then choose the number instead of relying on the advance function. So I've been able to just go, oh, and then, do whatever quickly. I'm really proficient with it, so I know how to kind of navigate that without messing up. But in the actual, so I'll be making a video for my YouTube channel and for EMS regarding this. Sorry, I don't have any identifiers on because I'm going to have the video. I'm actually recording on OBS, so I do apologize for that. But I'm going to be doing an overdub on my voice for the actual video, so this part really doesn't matter. And I'll only be recording certain segments. I think I might have already said this, but my computer is actually on the platform that my camera's on, so if I move, it shakes. And there is some latency, so I imagine, like right now, I'm about to swipe my hand, and I wonder how many seconds it goes. So swipe. Yeah, that was a good, like, 15 seconds for me. So between the audio, or between when I did it and when I saw it, but on the camera. But we'll have to work with that delay, and okay, that's great. Then the latency is through the stream anyways, so that's fine. I'm watching Twitch right now, so I can see you all. There may be a time where I might ask someone to just type what I say in the chat, just because I'm not going to be able to type it. If I type it, then it will move the camera. So with that, we'll just kind of get into it. And please, I want this to be as, like, informative as possible. This may be the only time you ever get a chance to, like, do this with someone. So if you want to check something out or see something, please let me know, and I will try to do that for you if I think it's safe. I should say that I have saved all of my projects via the Arturia MIDI center. So it's pretty quick, and I'll have that demonstrated in the actual video as well. But yeah, I've done that. So of course, if you do this, I haven't cleaned a lot of the surface. The iPhone is really awesome, but one of the things that it's luckily not getting it's not getting too much of the actual, it's been in my studio under dim lights, so this is the first time I'm getting a look at it, and it could use an external cleaning as well. I probably will do that as well, but I'll probably do that off camera. With that, is there anything else I should say? All right. No, great. This is going to be boring, so I do forgive some of you. If you want to put music on, I'm not going to have any music on this side or anything like that. So maybe, this is my first time doing something exactly like that. Hex 7 used to do some fun stuff like this, and he has a little bit more kind of experience with the deafening silence. But I'll try to have as steel of a nerve. So yeah, this might be kind of boring, and I really don't mind if people dip out because of the boredom, but I figured that I might as well stream it if I'm going to do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate the problem. So the Arturia BeatStep Pro is a sequencer. It has 2 sequences and a drum sequencer. The two sequences are monophonic, so they'll play one pitch at a time. They have velocity and gate as well that come, which you can control their parameters with these knobs, and you can cycle between right there. And there's various hotkeys to do a bunch of different things regarding octave. And as you can see through all these different, you know, whether you're going into a key and going chromatic, doing a major or minor, there's a lot of things you can kind of auto do regarding like arpeggiations and things like that, octaves as well. And it's my go-to sequencer. I really love it. It's very performative. It's very fun to kind of interact with. But unfortunately, what happens is after many years, as I said before, you will see that it will skip around. And here's a kind of demonstration. So it just went from 2 to 3, or 2 to 4 rather. This is really good. This is not behaving so bad. But maybe we can cycle through it a couple times so I can get a good one for the video, just a good for sequence. And it's really only in the drum one. This is the one I use the most. It's also on the bottom. My Beat Step Pro is usually facing me when I play on a music stand. So whatever's the gravity is working on the dirt as it's. So I imagine down here we'll have a lot of what kind of dust has settled down inside. That's my imagination, but this has begun to do it a little bit. But this is very consistent. I mean, I very rarely ever see a problem with this. This one I've never seen a problem with. The second one I've never seen. I've only seen it with the first one on rare occasion. Very rare occasion. So I don't even think I'm not really worried about that. And if it turns out it's going to be a lot of time, I may just clean the bottom one because it's really this one that is just unacceptable. It'll definitely go like 4 sequences. Maybe if I turn it up a little bit like that. So it just went 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, I'm gonna do it one more time and then we'll break it open. All right, that's good enough. If I need to, I can get some off camera. I don't need to bore you with this. All right, so let's turn it off. And then, now, funnily enough, I mentioned that Arturia had sent me a PDF of how to take it open. And the funny thing is that it literally was a PDF on how to undo these screws. So it was not in any way, you know what? I should probably do something about that. I don't actually feel like it's a problem, but maybe it is. I don't know. And I've already shown it, so anyone wants to, they could just rewind it. Whatever. This lighting is, it's so weird. In my space, this is like extremely bright. Maybe I'm gonna try something out real quick because it is bright and it is not coming through. All right. Full disclosure, I've taken these screws off once before, and then I decided I would stream it, so I put them back on. Oh my God. You're all gonna hate me. I forgot to push record. But you know, I'm sure the I am sure the um, stream capture will be just fine. I'm sure I don't have to worry about it. I don't know why I am. In fact, I'm not going to. I'm just going to go off the stream because who cares? All right. You know, one of the things I asked when I was inquiring about this was whether they were going to update to, what is it, a USB-C the new standard for USB, and they said they didn't have an intention to do that, which made me kind of wonder what was up about that. Because this has not changed in, I don't know when it came out, but you know, I've had it for many years now, and it hasn't changed. It's had firmware updates, which have, you know, been pretty good, but there hasn't been any there hasn't been any like actual hardware. Like there hasn't been like a second one or anything like that. Like a up. I guess there was Beat Step, and then this is Beat Step Pro, so maybe this is the upgrade. But I mean, the distance between the gap between the Beat Step and this is just so huge. You know what I think I might do? It might be interesting. Never mind. Yeah, Chillennial, that is a great point. I mean, 7 years, like, and not of like light use. Like I've taken this on a ton of shows, you know, not to be gross, but like I've sweat on it. Like it's, you know, and anyone who sees me kind of perform with it, you know, I hit it, you know, I'm moving and I'm not exactly careful with how I'm using it. So, like this might take like a lot of the abuse of that, you know, my modules don't, but this definitely takes like some kind of testing. So I don't know. It's very heartening to know that this is, that's why I'm not so upset about it. Like, it's not like, I don't feel like, oh, Arturia, I can't believe you know, it's like, okay, no, this deserves a little bit of, okay, so let's see. I'm going to move over to the OBS camera so that I can, nice, Moist Step Pro. I'm going to move over to the OBS camera real quick so that I can see in a less delayed time what I'm doing. All right, the first thing I'm going to notice is that this plate is heavy, and this has just gotten a whole lot lighter. It's still got some weight to it, but it's a whole lot lighter. I'm going to ask questions, and if no one answers, please don't feel... But you think I should probably like wipe this down back here, right? Like this, like a wipe? You think so? I think so, right? There's no like chemical kind of fumey. It's like I'm probably going to use a Windex or something. Or if you think just for this back plate, or does anyone have technical And I don't hold you accountable. So, I mean, I don't think um, putting Windex on the back of this is going to do anything. Ah, yes. Unfortunately, we won't. I'm not sure if it's dusty. It definitely feels like there's something like, yeah, there's a little dust on there. I'm not sure if you can see that. My psoriasis. There we go. I mean, I have a dust rag, and then I have like this with some. Yeah, don't lick it. That's always good advice. All right, so I'm gonna try and make some observations that maybe you can't see. Some observations that you can't see, and maybe it's possible in, post I can do some be a little closer up. But around here, there seems to be some flux, over here. It's got almost like some square sticker residue. And it's not, I mean, if you can imagine a stickers here that you've peeled up. Square here. And you can't really tell, I'm sure, from looking straight up, but from a side on the reflection, you see residue. I don't think that is our issue. I don't think that's our issue at all. I think that has to do, I think with what we're dealing with is the buttons on the other side. So that's going to be our next God. This is so funny. I bet there's some people who are like, what the heck is he doing? He clearly doesn't know what he's doing. And I don't. So, but it's either that or I pay essentially 3/4 of a new one or like a good used one to have it fixed. And I think I'd rather try this first. And because you know what, if the worst part is I have to get a new one and I get another 7 years out of it or something. My good friend Joe, also known as Salem Soundwaves, I was talking about what sequencer to get for an in-rack sequencer, because I'm making some of you may have seen, I'm making a kind of travel case so that I can have some basic functions, but like cool functions, so I can maybe even translate some of my more complicated patch into like rough versions in a smaller case, and maybe like take it out for like a couple days, maybe like a leg of a tour or something like that. It's like kind of like the plan, and not have to take my setup, because you know how that is. And Joe suggested this company, Tubatech, I think maybe. It's called BrainStep, and they didn't actually model it after a beat step. They modeled it after a sequencer on a keyboard, on a key synth. But, and I'm not even sure what it's called, M2 something, I don't know. But it has so much of the functionality of a BeatStep Pro, has keys, it's performative, it does modulation, it has 4 channels, and it has the ability to do drum samples. So, and there's drum samples that come on when you first buy it. And that arrived. The only problem is it is kind of pricey, which I kind of am like, oh, gosh. But I think it might be worth it. I don't know, and we'll see. I've been saving for the past year or so, and so I'm gonna try to like spend it wisely for the HP. It's 120 HP case. It's a black hole case. They unfortunately went out of business, but or maybe they didn't go out of business, but they moved on to another project, and maybe a better way to say it. And I got one before they did so. You know what I should have done? I should have put on Instagram that I'm doing this, because I bet some other people would want to see this and then be introduced to the awesome thing that is EMS. But I did not. And the phone that I would do that with is currently being used as the camera. So, whatever. And sorry if I go slow. I want to be sure to do everything right, and not forget anything. Regarding these like kind of residue square things, I'm not trying to crowdsource knowledge. I mean, I guess in a way I am, but I don't, like I said, I'm not holding anyone accountable for anything. But does anyone know what that is? Does anyone know what would cause the kind of sticker-like goo that is on the back of this? It's a square here, right here looks a little corrosion maybe over here. Yeah, what would that be? Yeah, this is a spring right here. Interesting, right? I wonder about that. What's that about? Yeah. Okay. Oh, another one. All right, what am I missing? Am I missing something? I'm always missing something. Oh, here's what I did not finish taking out. Okay, now I'm going to put these screws in a bag because I don't want to hit them and then have them go on this floor. Okay. Now, this is, I believe, a pretty sensitive part. And this is the ribbon, which I believe I can just... Whoa. All right, let me show it to you. Here is a ribbon right here that needs to come up and out. All right, now it's time to... You know what? I think these caps have to come off. And they are kind of gooey, so I might have to clean those. No, please. Shock value, please. Yeah, it just slides out. I'm pretty sure that that's the way it is. But I know what you mean. Like sometimes this is, but yeah, that just slides right back, and I can just put it right back in as well. So, but we are going to move along. But I know what your instinct and what you're saying, and I see what you mean. Okay, is there a screw I'm missing? Because it feels like it's not coming loose yet. Yes, there's a screw. Do you mean alcohol for me or for like an alcohol rub, Forrestine? I mean that like legitimately. So I am drinking some Fernet, but that's neither here nor there. No, there's another screw. Man, I have just did not go through this thoroughly. See, we're living dangerously here, people. Yes. Yes. I think you're right, Forrestine. I'm gonna have to. You know, this is also a problem that happens on the sides of some Moog, when the Moog cheeks on some synths like the sub fatty, little fatty, those, for whatever reason, those cheeks that are made of a similar kind of plastic get like a sticky feel to them. So that is something that is, I feel like there's got to be one more somewhere. What am I missing? These solder joints just are so similar. Forgive me, I'm going to pick it up and kind of look closely. All right, so I am having a little bit of issue detaching this from, oh. Now, these are right here. Okay, so so these are the things that I will be now. There is what seems to be like a carbon dust that is likely from these sheets here. And what I think these are is carbon, and then there is carbon here. And so when you push the button, it's like a pressure plate, a contact plate, is what I'm imagining the logic is. So I don't want to wipe away any of the carbon on either of these pads because those are very valuable, I believe. Right? But any free-flowing carbon or carbon in the center could be causing a contact extra voltage or extra, I don't know how to say it because I'm not really, I mean, it makes sense in my head. Like if there's anything that's outside of where it's supposed to be, it could be causing the advancement. I guess, maybe. But this is what I think is going to be needs to be cleaned. So well, no, let's talk about that for a minute, Chillennial. I don't think that it's a carbon powder that's like a dusting. I think that there was carbon molding of some kind in these shapes of the lines, and then there was the same molding here on this side, and the idea is that as you touched it, it would. But it is a powdery, so you could be right. And I would not be able to spray graphite on it to replace it. But it wouldn't make sense that it would be intentionally loose because this is meant for hitting over and over again, and that would just very quickly, certainly in under 7 years, dump. So I think that what you're seeing, the powder, I think, is breakage and erosion from something that was more of a molded kind of carbon powder, if that makes sense. I don't think this is going to affect too much the sensitivity. It might, but as long as I'm not wiping away on the actual pads themselves, and all I'm doing is wiping in between, and then I'll do a brush with my air, then I think we're going to be good. I think. Now, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, right. Exactly. I think it's flaking off. I don't think there's any intentional like dusting of carbon. I think. Let's see if these other ones look any better because obviously I hit some pads more than others. Like. Here are the pads that I hit quite a bit. Let me go to my, here are pads that I hit quite a bit. Sorry for I have psoriasis on my hands, so I'm going to do this so you guys don't have to look at it. This is pads that I hit quite often. And here are the pads that I don't, particularly the third to the right. You'll see how solid it is. Just how it's just like a solid pad of black compared to the rest. Now, there was, for a minute, I actually used to have problems with these keys, and then somehow it cleared up. It just, and this was, one of my initial problems was that these keys weren't hitting very well. But then it went back. And the velocity is still fine. I still get the velocity even though you have this erosion of the black paint. But because what we're actually looking at, it's these right here. This is the drum. So it's right here. In fact, these two right here are the ones that are having the most problems. And I don't see really anything wrong with that. You know what? There is some black carbon-esque substance by the knobs, but right here, so these two contacts right here are the ones that are giving me trouble. So that is what? These two right here. And I just don't see a lot of problems there. So weirdly enough, the messy part, the stuff that's all messy, is not really where I'm having the issue. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through and wipe between and here with a rag with a little bit of, or a paper towel with a little bit of very small amount of Windex. And then I will air dry it, of course. But I'm not going to go over the actual black squares. And then I'm going to take these and I'm going to clean these up as well. So that's what I'm doing. And it may be wrong. I feel a little bit... I feel pretty okay with that because this is not where I'm having issues. I'm not wiping out on the actual drum pad. I'm going to get some close-up footage of this real quick. With my other camera. Now I'm going to do the same thing here on these. I don't want to bend it too much because I think that probably degrades whatever structure the carbon. I mean, I assume it's carbon. I mean, I'm really just saying that word, but I have no real understanding of what it is. I've worked with carbon paint before, and so it definitely feels like dry carbon paint, but that's why I'm saying carbon. But to be clear to the more technically minded of you out there, I do not know what it is. It's just a black substance that I assume conducts electricity. So I really do appreciate the company, just so you know. Yeah, like this one's just great. This one's awesome. This one is not even a thing. You know what? I think that's it. I think that the reason why whatever issue is happening over here is because I mean, this is kick and snare. Kick, snare, and hi-hat. Like these are the three drum buttons that are used the most. And this is the one that's next to it and it's at the bottom. So whatever dust is settling is down here. So that is likely what the issue is, why the issue is occurring. That makes a lot of sense. You know what? I was thinking about that, Forrestine. I was thinking about maybe, I believe they're fungible. So I believe that I could probably, And it might be interesting to move them around because then whatever is worn away on one would be stronger in the other. And if it is an issue of two surfaces that are conductive of electricity, then if you have a surface that is more intact with a more degraded one, it's better than two degraded surfaces touching, especially when they're probably degraded in this along the same kind of conduits, so to speak. So I think that I'm going to do that. I think I'm actually going to swap them out. At least we're going to try that and see if that is a problem solver. So I don't want to. I really want to try and have this be done in 2 hours because I don't want to hog up all the time or whatnot. But you know, if yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna try and turn it back on and see if we have any. Like all the stuff up here, there's some white powdery stuff up there. All that stuff, that's not causing any function issues. So I don't want to kind of mess, even though it looks like it could be cleaned up. In a way, I just don't really want to even deal with that because it's not it's not an issue. It's not what's affecting my. It's not my problem. So I don't want to try to clean something that makes sense, right? Oh, that's interesting, Forrestine. Yeah, I think, okay. I'm just going to read that out. When we did the Alpha Juno, we had to replace a bunch of the rubber domes under the keys, which also had carbon contacts inside. So I assume it's similar. So it shouldn't really matter if you. Yeah, I agree. Exactly. I mean, and like I said, if that's not the case, right, then I think it was still worth a try. I think doing this rather than either just dealing with it or sending it in to get it fixed, which of course, would be, that's the obvious option. But they said that it really shouldn't be a problem to open it up, and as long as you protect the ribbon, which I did, and they told me to protect the ribbon, then it really shouldn't be an issue. So so I don't. That's why I gave this a shot in the first place because, and it's Arturia. Arturia is, I hate to. I'm obviously. You can get a used one, I think, for $150, $200, I think. Maybe less, I don't know. But and that's such a value for what it does. There's an artist by the name of Subjective Eyes out of New York who gave me what's called a breakout, which is a module that goes into my rack that instead of having to plug each one of these outs, for each sequencer, the pitch, the gate, the velocity, and then all the drums have their own outs that don't remove the signal from the MIDI, so you can actually have it play. This you can have these kind of like act as triggers for various things when drums hit. All that stuff. Instead of having to plug those wires in, you just have a HDMI cable which is split out at the top and connects to all these and connects via HDMI to a module, and then you can actually do it in the rack. And I wasn't quite sure how I'd use it at first, but it's very handy when you're playing shows and you don't want to have to unpatch, because you have to take this in its own separate case. If you don't want to unpatch the all these different wires, you can have it all just in that module, bring it to the show, and then all you plug in is the HDMI cable. It's just a very, it's called a rack plumber. And I think they make it for a various different sequencers, and it was just a very awesome gift that I wasn't really quite sure how I'd use until I used it, and I was quite glad I did. Um, Tapping out melodies wasn't so annoying. Um, yeah, I don't experience that. It's very intuitive for me, and I can play it in real time. A lot of times, I'll just push record and then like play along with it in real time, and then kind of shift and stuff like that. Maybe it's just because I've been playing for so long that I have that kind of intuition for it. But I don't. For me, it's the least. Oh, I see. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Sure. And you can, I think you can, yeah, I'm sure that would be kind of an issue, especially if you're playing live. And, what is sometimes a kind of good thing to do is if you have like a bass melody that you already have sequenced, um, kind of like as a primer, it's your yeast primer. And then you can tap out the melodies in real time because you have a better sense of the uh, uh, the timing. It's there. It's at least partially there. Um, but yeah, I think that's for me what I like about it most is that I feel like I can play it like a keyboard in a way. I can just go at it, and then hotkey to a different octave really quickly. And also the way that I think you'll notice in my kind of style, I almost feel like I can never get rid of the beat step because the way that when you're playing live and you have two pitches triggered really close to one another, it almost interrupts. Like you can almost interrupt it, and so it has a kind of feel to it that I really love, and I take advantage of that kind of stutter, and a lot of my songs I use that as a kind of feature. And so I'm almost afraid now that I have the brain step. Uh, I'm wondering if there's going to be a difference in the way that some of my songs sound when I try to transpose them into this other sequencer. I'm not sure if everyone heard, but like I got the brain step um, sequencer for a new rack of mine, and I'm hoping that I can take some of these sequences of other shows that of other songs I've done or tracks I've done and kind of make it a kind of road ready reduced version of some of these tracks. Um, and and I'm very curious to see how some of these BeatStep Pro uh, designed sequences work out in the Beat BrainStep platform. Very interested. Okay, so I think I have these pretty much. I'm gonna forgive my head. I'm gonna actually look at this really quickly because I want to make sure that I get this. I feel like I've done a good job of cleaning in between these. And these are all good and clean. Um, So forgive the sound. I have a compressor on this, so hopefully um, it's not too loud in your ears. If it's too loud, just tell me and I will. Now, like I said, I'm not getting any real issues with these. So I mean, I'm almost loath to clean them off, but since I'm cleaning off these black parts anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and do it because this is the stuff that's. Okay, so, and then this is here is the pad that I'm, again, having issues with is right here. So it's right here. And I've had problems with this one as well. But this one's been so rare. Like I can't even really I can't even redo it. I can't It's so hard to even re-trigger the error. Okay, I know that it doesn't seem like I did that much, but that's all I really kind of set out to do with this. It's cool that we got to see the inside of um, the BeatStep Pro. Forgive my filming. I just have to get some nice shots for the YouTube. I probably should be wearing gloves, huh? My finger oils are probably actually destroying everything. Is that right? So, at this point, what I'd like to do is ask if there are any questions, or just to give anyone who's watching right now the opportunity to give anyone the opportunity to is there any part you want to see? Is there anything you want to look at? If there's anything that you want me to do, now is the time to ask. Just as far as before I reassemble. And I'll wait a second because I know there's a delay. But I wiped down this table really well before I started it, so yeah? Do we think we're good to put it back together? What do you also, if you want, I was thinking about maybe actually swapping out these keys, because these keys are fungible as well, and maybe I might as well like move them around as well, huh? Maybe? These, I think I'm gonna move these around as well. So I'll put these up here. And then I'm going to put the best one I can find on the pads that I use the most, which are right here. Thanks, Enthusiastic. I appreciate it. Have a great night. You know what? But then maybe it's, No, that's right. That's okay. I'm going to do one more quick wipe right where the problem is, which is these right here are the ones that are having the problems, right here. And then right here. And I'm gonna okay. Here I go. Putting it back together. That wasn't so bad, no, was it? I don't think so. I'm going to move this back to my OBS so that I can get a real-time view of what I'm doing. Okay. If any Arturia employees stumble across this video, I hope I didn't. I hope I did you proud. um, this is such a great product that I love. So. The design seems very, built obviously to last, and for the knobs, I am going to just quickly. I have a Gooby Gone. I think I'm going to try that, but I don't think for the purposes of this video I need to worry too much about that. I could just kind of do a pass over, and if I want to make them better, I can do that on my own time. I mean, this right here will all be like sped up by 1,000 times or so, 700 times maybe. So try and make a good 5-minute video out of this maybe, if I can. You always have to be careful about these screws because it's like this weird thread. Some threads don't work on some entrances. And you don't want to force it because the plastic, while this is built like a tank, anytime you have plastic threads, it's a precarious situation. You know what I'm going to do real quick? I'm going to make sure that I have everything. It'll be so funny if I just completely mess something up. My only concern actually is that these drums don't seem as hitty as they used to. They feel kind of stiff. And that makes me worried. But, oh, what do we do about that? No, it's okay. They're not buttons like that, right? They lay flat. They're pads. I'm imagining it. They're not, they're touch sensitive, but they're not, they don't, they don't like have the haptic like button feel. I don't think so. If anyone has a BeatStep Pro out there, hit their drum pad and see if it like pops in. I don't think it does. I think it's just like a pad that you hit. And if it is, then let me know as soon as possible so I can undo all this and figure out why it's not doing it. Thanks, Jock. Gives me confidence. You know how it is. You like second guess yourself, and then you're like halfway through something, and you're like, "Oh God," you know. That's my life. But whatever. You know what I wonder? This is just an aside, and if any of you more technologically inclined folks have an answer. These two pots, which are, they have a Phillips, for like in a pedal, you might use it for a gain or maybe a pitch on like one of the Mother 32, has like something to, but I wonder what they're used for this, in this context, right? Such a strange, what would that be used for? Here and here, here and here. Interesting. Huh. Something strange is happening here. There's a screw without... Is there a longer one somewhere that I'm... Huh. That might be like a mistake. I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna... If all these screws go in, then that one does not need to go in. I mean, sometimes that happens, right? They'll have an extra screw hole, but that is a little weird, right? That's a little weird. I didn't break anything. There's no like broken... I was pretty careful. I am a tiny bit concerned. Because there might be an extra screw, and if there's an extra screw, that means there's something wrong. And that means I have to investigate what's wrong. What would that be? Yep. That is a unneeded hole. Thank goodness, right? I was about to be scared. Sometimes PCB boards get designed before the thing, and then they print them, and then they realize they didn't need that screw hole there. At least that's what I'm hoping. I didn't lose a screw. That's why I put them in a bag, so... Oh, can't forget the important part, the ribbon. Oh, really? Pitch tuning. Interesting. I hope I didn't mess anything up. Interesting. Okay, so this should just be able to slide right back in. You know what? I know this pitch thing, or this, sorry, I know this ribbon thing because of PS4 remote control fixing I've done. In fact, a lot of this has, I mean, there's a lot of kind of overlap in fixing a PS4 remote. Um, Believe it or not, isn't that weird? Some of my PS4 repair skills have come in handy for this. Um, and yeah, these things are just pop them in, pop them out. There's no reason to solder them. It's just tension, I think. Yeah, no, that's great. That's interesting. Very interesting regarding the pitch. And because it's like this, it wouldn't be too hard if it's off a bit or like whatever. I'm not saying I messed it up, but let's say I did. It's not like I'm going to have to take it off. I mean, I'd have to do some investigation of how to actually do it, but like it's not going to be a hour and a half whatever I just did. It's going to be so funny if I turn this on and I hit the pads and they don't fire up. Even if that happens, I don't think it's probably just I laid something down wrong or um, I don't think it's. I mean, the design is really complicated but simple at the same time. It's like a series of pressure plates, essentially. Um, oh, nice. Excellent. Excellent stuff. Good legwork. I think it's kind of funny. No shade at Arturia at all, but I think it's kind of funny that they said they're like, here's the instructions on how to take it off, everything apart and to deassemble. And then when I got the PDF, I'll probably include it in the video. Although I don't want to be cheeky about it, but like it was just a PDF of how to unscrew these screws. I mean, I was like, okay, was this person like trolling me? Whoever was on the other side of that, whoever sent me that PDF on how to unscrew something. I was like, okay, not what I was expecting. But I'm sure that they just were like, oh, here's this thing in their file, and they just sent it off to me, not really knowing what it was. Because I think it said assembly or disassembly or assembly or something like that. So, you know, it's not like. You know what? I am going to get the Gooby Gone. Sorry to take up more time, but I'm going to get the Gooby Gone real quick. This is just a Glucagon degreaser. I don't know how it's going to react with plastic, so this is something I'll do the experiment for you. So this could be a bad idea, but I don't think so. I still have to watch the end of Severance tonight. I gotta be honest, I fell asleep in the last like 10 minutes, so no spoilers. Yeah, season 2 is a whole different world. I will be honest, I'm not quite as enthralled as I think a lot of folks are. I really liked the first season. And the second season's good too. I mean, it's one of those shows that I think is a good, solid show. I think it's a great show. No takeaway from it. Maybe it's because it's something I think about quite a bit, like the premise, and so I like wanting to. I wish I was in the writer's room, you know. So then, when something doesn't happen the way I want it to, then I'm like a little bit more like invested. For those interested, Goo Gone kitchen degreaser works on these knobs like amazingly. I'm like actually kind of floored by how well this is working. Yeah. Yeah. Millennial, that is something that I agree with. I agree. That's something that, and I'm not making a direct comparison, so I don't want anyone to think I am, but like when it begins to be like Lost, where you kind of feel like they're writing it by the seat of their pants just for like the F factor, um, then sometimes I get skeptical because of the way that Lost kind of fell apart like that. For those of you who were ever even slightly into that show. Um, yeah, so it's that show like kind of put me in a mode where I get kind of uh, skeptical when because I really really enjoy Lynch is like one of my favorite. I'm a very I think Lynch is probably one of the most influential directors of this younger generation of directors and writers and cinematographers and just um, and sound designers. And I see Lynch in so much of the past 5 years of like new and up and coming things, even in stuff you don't expect. Like there'll be like little tip of the hats, and um, and I think sometimes in the effort to tip that hat, there's sometimes, it's just they can't pull it together at the end, and then that's so dissatisfying because you really think there's going to be a payoff. Like I said, I really do like Severance, so I'm not making. I kind of sound like I feel like I'm talking it down, but I'm not. I just, I'm in the last 10 minutes and I'm still, kind of wondering what exactly is happening. Or maybe the last half hour, I fell asleep. But I've been really tired lately, so whatever. This works amazingly, by the way. Gugon, it's like, wow. And Forrestine, um, thank you for the moisturizer. You're right. I have a psoriasis on my hands, so I'm always having to moisturize, or maybe it's eczema. I don't know what it is. It's hereditary, but it happens often in late winter when my hands have had enough, and it just says, "All right, no more moisture for you." The cracking begins. You know how it is. I'm sure some people have had it, or have friends or family who've had it, but. Like, look at this. This is like, ugh. These knobs look like new. Later, Chillennial. Ah, yeah. It's good to know. Sorry, I feel like this part's taking longer than anything else. I could probably just turn it on and we could all go to bed or whatever. But well, I guess it's Saturday night. If any of you out there have a BeatStep Pro and don't use these knobs, it's really great to be able to control the velocity. You can program things if you don't do it live. You know, lengthen the gate so that there's just all sorts of stuff you can do with these knobs that I think a lot of people don't really take advantage of with their BeatStep Pros. Or maybe they do, and I'm just some self-congratulatory. But I never really see people messing with them. Yeah, I mean, I use Aquifer, like the petroleum hand that my hands will get. They will definitely get greased. I mean, this is like 7 years of like crap, so not too bad for that. I feel like there's something aesthetic about this shot with the BeatStep Pro and the knobs like this. I feel like there's some kind of like cool thing happening. It just looks kind of cool, I think. Like it'd be a good still. Can you believe it's 2025, people? Not to go there, but it's 2025. What did you do tonight? I watched this guy clean knobs for 30 minutes. I feel like I'm committed now. Otherwise, I just stop. Okay. Home stretch. forgot to start. I should clean this under the camera, right? Isn't that like the look, so you can actually see what I'm doing? Nice. Read the effing manual. I don't know why I'm being like PG, but so unlike me. You know what? I think if this is successful, I think that if anything, what this will do is it will make people a little bit less scared, especially some of these older machines which are out of warranty, you know, a little less scared to crack it open and see if it's not working right. You know, I wonder if this will actually be useful. I wonder if this will get some eyes on it, because I don't think I've seen anything like this before, where you've kind of shown step by step how to take apart something that it's something the company said was here's how to do it. So it's not like they weren't like, don't do it. They just said be careful. In fact, they just told me what to watch out for. They told me to watch out for the ribbon. And other than that, go at it, which is so rare these days. So rare that you can do this, right? So rare that you can actually pop something open. Now, let's be very clear. This is something that's very mechanical. It's not like I'm going to be the one who's soldering those surface mount chips or anything like that. A lot of you out there I know are much more inclined for those kinds of things, but little repairs like this, you would not believe how much gear gets thrown away or put in the closet only to never surface again because of little stuff like this. And if we could just like salvage what little kind of repair we have left. True, even if the instructions were sparse, right? I mean, but it's just kind of heartening a little bit that this is still something that happens, that you can do. That's why, when kind of budget companies which I think definitely have certainly a place in the world. When they come after people like companies like Arturia, that's when I get a little bit like put or whatever, because it's like, don't these folks they're the ones who are really innovating here, and let's keep them alive. All right, knobs on. Can I get a drum machine roll? Drum machine roll, please. I'm not even joking. Isn't that pretty? Now, the real test is um, the real test is to see if it goes forward. So, ah, dang. Back to the drawing board. I think I'm gonna cry a little bit. This is a little depressing. You know what? It's not lost. Um, this is part one. I'm gonna think about it, and I will do this again when I think of what, because now we know what the parts are. Now we know that it's two contacts that are, there's two circular contacts that are making contact with something else. And if that's the case, then maybe there's not enough bounce and it's lingering too long. It's lingering too long on the contact, which is advancing it. Um, yeah, I think that I can do this again. Um, and maybe I won't stream it, but I can do this again and figure it out, or maybe I'll stream it. I don't know if it's worth it, but because now I know what the parts are, right? I know the parts, and I know that it has something to do with the dust and the contact. Maybe I didn't wipe it enough because I was afraid of wiping the carbon surface, and there's some kind of film on there that I should have just like wiped. But I did feel like I did. Uh, I don't know. I'm gonna sign off, but I do think that we have a better understanding of what the mechanics of it are, and maybe I can think through it. And if any of you have ideas, then my DMs are open, obviously, and I would love to hear about it. So, not fixed, but more knowledge gained. So, and I do also have like carbon paint. Like I have literal carbon paint, which is I can't. It's exactly this substance. It's what I use on the black surface of the octopus. When you look at the octopus and its eyes and its arms, and it dries. It doesn't dry like acrylic. It dries like a crust of graphite, or a crust of carbon. So maybe I can think about that. Um, you know, but I think that I have to think about it. And like I said, if any of you have ideas, then yeah, it's all part of troubleshooting. Um, we'll leave it there. All right. Thanks everyone. It was fun either way. Good to see the inside of a machine.